The collective, hosted by Citadel at the Cape Town International Convention Centre, saw 3 powerful panel discussions getting into creative and transformative ideas. My colleague, Renuka Mithil, the managing editor of Forbes Africa, spoke to industry leaders who are driving real impact in society and the global economy.
Just take us through what it has meant to be wearing a crown as a global beauty queen, to becoming a CEO. How has that hat been like? I mean, does it wear as heavy as a crown, or has it been easy?
It has been a wonderful journey to move from Miss South Africa and Miss World up until starting your own business. I think it's wonderful, first of all, to know that a platform like Miss South Africa and Miss World is so valid and so helpful for someone like me with big dreams and big goals. And it has just been such a beautiful, I almost want to say, a full circle moment from being crowned as a Miss South Africa and representing your country on stage to now being hands-on and solving unemployment and making a difference as an entrepreneur in your country. And I think even though the roles have changed, the heart behind it has been the same, and that is just so wonderful, and I'm so grateful for that.
You've self-funded your business. What has that been like in terms of barriers to entry? Have you gone through the usual rigmarole of regulatory authorities, understanding the rule book and all the number crunching? What has that been like in terms of hardship, in terms of setbacks in starting a business in South Africa? Are there too many barriers to entry in your view?
One of the biggest decisions I've had to make when I started RS Sunglasses was trying to figure out, am I going to build a lifestyle business? Is it going to be self-funded, or am I going to raise equity funding and have equity shareholders? And I decided to start a lifestyle business just because a lifestyle business at this stage of my life with children give me a bit more free time, independence and cash flow. But one of the biggest challenges and barriers as a self-funded business is that you can't grow as fast as you could have grown when you were when you had an equity investor. I think one of the biggest aha moments or realizations I had as a self-funded entrepreneur was the buck stops with me. I have employees and I cannot turn to anyone else when things go tough or when things get tough. They are dependent on me, and I have the responsibility to make sure that this business works and that it grows, and that I can still supply them and help them with their salaries as well.
So a lot of the time, the female founders of small businesses in South Africa, they often complain about the lack of access to funding or the lack of interest among investors to kind of funding their businesses, and forget even scaling businesses. They even find it difficult to actually find the seed capital to start their businesses. Do you think there are enough venture capital, for example, to fund female-founded businesses in South Africa? And why is it that we don't have that many examples yet?
Well, I might speak from a different point of view. My husband is in venture capital. He has a fund manager. Well, he's a fund manager as well. So I know that there are funds and that there are capital available. I think it's about finding good quality businesses. And one question that my husband always asks me is, if you cannot build a business without money, what tells you that you can build it with money? And just starting there and not waiting for the funds to come in, but to start and have a business that is working, a business with clients, a business that has some revenue, and then go to to look for funding. I think that is a very important concept for me, knowing that there is funding, but I have to have the quality business to make it well worth their while to actually invest in me.
Local businesses, local innovations are very key to developing any economy, and particularly in South Africa, there's been a drive towards the proudly South African, the Made in South Africa branding for businesses. But what role do you think public institutions and the private sector can play in kind of hastening this transition where more businesses are incorporated into the mainstream economy?
I think one of the biggest challenges we face as a country is unemployment. And one of the biggest solutions, or the best solutions, is to grow the GDP of South Africa and to increase entrepreneurship within South Africa. I think it's a snowball effect. I think once we decide that I'm not going to wait for funding from a public institution or a government. I'm going to see how I can manage it, start my business, get it off the ground, and then take that power into my own hands, grow the economy, have some employees. In that way, it's just a snowball effect, and you get momentum that eventually moves the needle.
Amazon has a 20-year history in South Africa, and you've been with the brand for over 10 years now, and you've set up shop in South Africa a year ago. What has that journey been like in promoting local business and promoting local innovations? How have you been at that intersection and at the vanguard of promoting small business in South Africa?
Sure. First off, yes, we've been here 20 years, and the next logical step in our growth in South Africa has been launching Amazon.co.za. And we're very excited. The last 12 months we've seen amazing response from our customers. Love the same-day delivery, order by 2, get it by 8 o'clock. Love the 24/7 support from real people. And we're building our product selection and adding new products all the time. From a small business point of view, what people may not realize is that more than 60% of the units that are sold by Amazon worldwide are actually other businesses. And a lot of those are small businesses. And there's some really, really inspiring stories all over the world of people maybe they've been made redundant, or they've got this great business idea. And really, Amazon Marketplace can be a great facilitator where, put the product in our stores. There's a lot of education support. You can tell your brand story within the store. But, we'll do the picking, the packing, the shipping, all those type of things for the entrepreneur. So, we've already had thousands of South African entrepreneurs registered to sell in the store. We've also built a small section within the store called Shop Mzansi, which is a collection of truly South African brands. And we're working with those brands, again, to tell their brand story. But it's also a great place for South Africans to find South African selection and support those South African brands. So we're excited about it. It is early in the journey, but we're investing a lot to help build and develop small businesses in South Africa.
Africa is very much in the news globally, and even if you look at the African music scene, for example, a genre like Amapiano is one of Africa's biggest exports globally. And we're talking cultural exports here, and pretty much a lot of products that you have on Amazon also have that strong cultural heritage when they're made in South Africa.
Yeah.
But do you think that we're seeing enough African products in the international market space? There's so much creativity, there's so much innovation happening on this continent, but does the world really know what a Make in Africa brand truly is on an international stage?
Yeah, and I think absolutely not. There are a lot of unique ideas, and I always say to my team, there is no reason why the next mega brand of the world that everybody's buying, why shouldn't it come from South Africa? Why shouldn't it come from Africa? And that's part of, as we're working with small brands in South Africa, identifying some of these brands, helping them with our, the seller tools. We'll take care of the logistics, we'll take care of taking the order, we'll ship it to the customer same day, all those kind of basics, so that the brand owner can focus on the actual brand, building a great product. And the other part of this is, if you can be successful on Amazon.co.za in South Africa, it's a next logical step, and we already have quite a few brands who've taken that next step of then listing in the US, in Germany, in the UK, Saudi, wherever it needs to be, but is taking your brands into those marketplaces in the country. So we see ourselves as a big facilitator of that, and we're excited to uncover those exciting brands, and again, investing a lot of money into that. But yeah, we would love to see a whole lot more South African product, and especially exposing it to US, UK, Germany, other countries, where I know customers would love to see that product.
With the new tariff regime under the Trump administration, obviously the logistics sector is going to take the brunt of it. How do you see this great, supply chain into Africa changing? How is that going to evolve in the months to come?
Look, I don't want to comment specifically on the tariffs, but I think, there is such great opportunity, not only in the continent, but in the rest of the world, going into countries. As I said, we are, in a large sense, a facilitator of being able to take some of these brands out of South Africa into some of these other countries. And yeah, there may be some anomalies that make that more difficult in the short term, hopefully in the short term. But again, I think if you can prove it that a brand is in demand here in South Africa, you get used to, you've driven it, telling your brand story, great pictures, getting the barcodes right, all those and the compliance piece. And then great, you can take it off, internationally. And with that global presence, in time you'll see more of those routes into some of these other countries. Becoming easier, as the scale builds.
In a way, it's great that you're on a platform that caters to everything from business to lifestyle, to human interest needs, to sport, to everything, art. So you really are on a platform that is democratizing access to all South Africans.
I'm glad you say that, because I think what is probably most important is, look, we're here to serve all 62 million South Africans. And what is super encouraging is when you look at a heat map of where we're delivering around the country, delivering to, very remote places, it could be, middle of KwaZulu-Natal or Limpopo, Beitbridge, Port Nolloth, all over the place. And that's exciting, because if you don't have the same access to all the product selection, the great value for money, and that convenient experience, now all of a sudden with online, we'll get the product to you. Very often it's next day if you're in most areas, sometimes in 2 days' time. But I think that's exciting for South Africans, and really hope that more and more people start trying it out.
In South Africa's fast evolving entrepreneurial space, true success lies in balancing experience with disruption by bringing together seasoned business leaders and emerging entrepreneurial talent. And with that, we close this episode of Focus On from Cape Town at the Collective event.